Today, we're going to learn how to develop a control point system in Minecraft Bedrock. This system is intended for team-based games. At its simplest form, the system only requires 3 variations of one command. You'll also need a basic understanding of structure blocks. There are timestamp chapters within the description of this video. That way, you can skip around or come back to certain parts that you need to review. I'll also be providing the list of commands needed so you can copy and adjust them with ease. With that being said, let's get started. The goal for this device is to have your team's colored wool in the center of the control point. In doing so, this point is quickly captured. However, if the wool is removed, the control point becomes neutral again. This system can be used in various ways, such as large maps with multiple capture points. You could also adjust it to be a capture the flag game. Additionally, you could increase the capture time and make it some sort of King of the Hill minigame. Now that we've covered its functions, let me show you how to create this with just a few commands. First, you'll want to find a place for your capture point. As long as it can be constrained within a structure block, you can make the capture point as large as you'd like. For this example, I'm using stone bricks, but you can use any block that you'd like. I've placed white concrete around the center to signify that it's in a neutral or uncaptured state. Once you've established your control point, we can begin the redstone component of this device. As long as these commands are within the range of a player or within a ticking area, you can set up the redstone wherever you'd like. Since we've established the neutral state of the capture point, let's start with the redstone and command for it. Place down a repeating command block leading into a comparator. Throw in the following command into the repeating command block and set your desired tick delay. Adjust the coordinates to the center of your control point. In this instance, I have the repeating command block powered by redstone. That way, you can toggle on and off when the system is active. Once you've done this, place a piece of redstone in front of the comparator, leading into a block with a sticky piston facing upwards above it. Place a redstone block above the piston. Next to the piston, place a structure block with a block above it. Then one more piece of redstone above that block. In the structure block, select your control point and give it a meaningful name. I set it as NCP for the neutral control point. Save it and then toggle the structure block to load. You can also set the animation mode to place by block and choose an animation time. I set it as 1 second for this example. After this, you do the same process for a captured status for your teams. In this example, I've chosen to do 2 teams, red and blue. Create the same redstone system for both teams. If you have more than 2 teams, you can make more. Place the following commands with the same settings, a desired tick delay, and keep it at needs redstone. Don't forget to put in the coordinates for wherever the center of your control point is. Make sure all 3 repeating command blocks are connected to the same power source. For the structure blocks, simply replace the white concrete with your desired team colors, and save each control point with meaningful names. Once again, feel free to add an animation mode and time. After you've completed these steps, your system should be functional. To test it, simply power these repeating command blocks and place your respective colors of wool. As you can see, when the middle of your control point has no blocks on it, it is uncaptured. However, if you place either of the colored wools on top of it, the site becomes captured. If you'd like to learn how these commands work and how they can be adapted, feel free to stick around. Otherwise, you're all set to apply these systems into your game. The purpose for this is to be able to identify when one of these control points has a block of colored wool above it, or to detect when there is nothing above it. Let's dive deeper into these commands in the redstone system. Starting with the neutral repeating command block, /execute if block XYZ error. This is telling the repeating command block to execute a command if the block at your selected coordinates is error. Run say control point A is not captured. This part of the command is simply saying to run the command /say, then you add your desired text right after it. The same goes for team-specific commands. You're asking the repeating command block to execute a command for when there is a specific block on the center of your control point. You can also repurpose the first half of this command. Say you want to award points to all players on blue team if they've captured a point. First, you'll have to set up a scoreboard and make sure players are assigned tags for their respective teams. If you're unsure how to use tags, then there's a link in the description for how to put players into different teams using tags. Make sure to run the following command: /scoreboard objectives add points dummy. And no, I'm not calling you a dummy, that's just the command. You can change the word points to whatever you'd like to label this scoreboard. Make sure to run this command as well, so you can see your points. /scoreboard set display sidebar points. I'm also going to give myself a tag that represents the blue team. /tag your username add team 1. We're going to use the first half of the second control point command, which is /execute if block XYZ light blue wool. To finish your command, you can add this to the end of it and set your ticking delay to however many ticks you want, as well as the score that's awarded for Team 1 or blue for each ticking period. You can set this repeating command block to always active. Now, as you can see, when there's a block of light blue wool above the control point, players on Team 1 are rewarded with points for every few ticks. This is just one of the many ways you can use and interpret this command and integrate it into your minigames. Before I set you off on your own, I'd like to quickly explain the redstone as well so it makes sense to you. The lever here powers the entire system, but this is only for an example. You essentially want to make sure that this system has power for when the game is active. The redstone leads into each of these repeating command blocks. The repeating command block must lead into the comparator. You can tell that it's leading into the comparator by looking at the arrows on the sides of the command blocks. When the command block executes its commands, it sends a signal into the comparator, which powers the redstone in front of it. Now you could simply have the redstone lead into the structure block, but using a piston allows for some delay, and the structure blocks are less likely to intervene with each other. The sticky piston is powered by redstone, and it pushes the redstone block to power the structure block. What a sentence. The main component of this whole system is powering the redstone when a command is executed, and sending that redstone signal to trigger the structure block and load in the correct control point status. If you guys have any further questions, let me know down below. Additionally, you can comment more command block problems for me to solve. I hope this video was helpful and not too long. I try to organize my content in a way where viewers can quickly copy my commands in Redstone. However, they can also stick around and see exactly how these systems operate. Then, they can have a better understanding on how to integrate and adapt these devices into their minigames. If in fact this video was helpful in any way, please do me a favor by dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button. Good luck on your projects, and I will see you next time.